in the US, I could not let my 11-year-old son go outside and play by himself.
No.
Someone would call the cops or something would legitimately happen to him. And so there was no way. And when I moved to Germany, my husband, who's a German national, suggested that he go outside and play by himself because we would not have to worry.
Yeah.
If you're an American,
it's wild because I even saw a video. Was it Finland or something of the sort like that? It was Finland and Denmark, and you can I was so shocked. Like, if you guys want to check out that video, you can do that. It was about Finland and Denmark, happiness, something related to happiness, right? And I was mad surprised when I saw them literally have strollers outside of a food establishment with the babies in it. I was like, bro, in America, that baby gone. They're gonna steal that kid, right? And it was really crazy, bro. Hey guys, welcome back to Foreign Reacts. Today we're going to be doing a very interesting video again because this one is going to be Americans living abroad. First time you realize America really messed you up. So this is actually part one, but I did, what version did I do before? But either ways, guys, we're going to be doing this video. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. This is Foreign Reacts, where we do foreign reactions. Everything done here has to be foreign to the reactor, which that's who I am today. So I hope you guys are having a good day and everybody's safe and doing well. If you guys want to comment what country you're from, you can do that in the comment section down below. And also, if you guys want to share your personal experiences regarding Americans and interactions that you've had, feel free to do that, guys. But either ways, let's get right into the video.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I've been living in New Zealand for the last 4 years, and at work there was an American flag, and I jokingly went and put my hand over my heart and said the Pledge of Allegiance, and everyone was kind of like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's a Pledge of Allegiance. So basically, growing up every day at school at like 9 o'clock or whatever, we would all stand up and the whole class would recite the Pledge of Allegiance with our hands over our hearts to the American flag in the corner of the room. And my coworkers were like, what? And, you know, when you say it out loud, it sounds a bit culty.
Oh, if you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard, and during my lifeguard training, they taught us that before we even administer first aid or CPR, we had to ask for consent to avoid being sued.
Yeah.
Now fast forward a couple of years, and I'm in London as a waitress, and my company sends me to go do CPR training. And while I'm there, they go over the same stuff that I learned in the States, but I notice that they're completely glossing over this one particular area.
Consent.
So I raise my hand and I ask, what are the laws here? Like, how do you avoid being sued if something goes wrong? To which every single person in the room starts laughing at me. Says, oh, you're a man.
You know, I'm happy. Excuse me. I'm happy I'm actually doing these videos because I never knew suing was looked on by the rest of the world so horribly. Like, a few of my videos that I mentioned sue, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were like, la 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 la, you're talking there, you know? And I was like, wow, okay. So that's not how it is in the other parts of the world. And here you go with her telling her experience. And I would practically do the same thing because I'd be worried if somebody's going to sue me, I'm going to lose my money, I'm going to, you know. So it's really interesting because it's a very easy thing to be sued in America. Very easy, very, very easy. You know, sue you, whatever. So very interesting. I'm happy I'm learning these things so I don't actually make a fool of myself when I go somewhere else. Make sense?
Yeah, no one here is going to sue you for trying to save their life.
An American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really matters?
So in the US, I regularly get pneumonia. Sometimes I get like pneumonia and bronchitis, but pretty much all, you know, like clockwork, I get it. I had just moved to Scotland for my master's, and I was coming down with a respiratory infection like I do every year. It was just the early onsets of pneumonia, but like normally I wait to the point of where I'm like literally unable to breathe before I go to the doctor because it's expensive in the US.
Yeah, right,
here I was like, you know what, I'm here. I paid for the NHS. Let me go get it. Saw a doctor, gave me a prescription. I went to the pharmacy to pick up my medication, something that I literally would not be able to afford with my minimum wage job and being a full-time student. they gave it to me for free because it was necessary, and I almost cried in the pharmacy. Like, tears were welling in my eyes.
This one time that made you realize that America really messed you up.
Okay, so I live in New York now, but I used to live in England, and one time I was out at this bar with my friends, and these two cops walked by. And one of my friends was like, oh, I wonder why there are cops out right now. And I looked at the cops, and I got really confused, and I was like, those are cops? And my friends were like, yeah. And I was like, they don't have guns. And everyone was like, why would they have guns? They were like so aghast at that question. And I realized in that moment and learned that guns, there are so few guns in the UK, and it's such not an issue that like the everyday cop does not carry a gun. And I was just, there are houses.
He'd probably thought it was a security guard, but security guards in America, some of them has guns, so it depends on what kind of security guard you're rocking with, but some of them has pistols. But it is really a thing in America, and it's unbreakable because it's an American culture, right? With the guns and all of that, because for pleasure, it's beyond for safety in America. There are levels to it. There are pleasure. You go out there at the shooting range, stuff like that. It's just pleasure, and then you have safety, and you have criminals, right? And the cops has to do for safety and criminals. We're really mainly criminals, right? But it's really embedded in the culture of a particular American lifestyle. So it's really hard for that to be erased. But it is something that is really, scary if you're a foreigner visiting America, or, it's an eye opener for an American, living in a foreign country. It's really a difference, because I'm telling you, if I walk in a foreign country and I'm like, okay, so I don't have to worry about getting shot. Even if I'm a bad guy and the cops are pulling up, I don't have to worry about getting shot. In America, you better listen to the cops, bro. I remember one time I was flat out, bro. I was nervous, bro. Like 2 incidents, bro. And these were incidents with the cops. And I saw this flat out, bro. A dude, he was in a car, and the cops, pulled him over, used the microphone and everything. Get out of the car, get on the ground now. And I'm talking about South Carolina. It's hot, summer, right? And dude was on the floor, and I'm like, dang, please don't shoot him. I don't want to see that, right? And then there was another time, this was a black dude, and he was just there. And I saw that, like, they chased him down into, like, where the bus station was at. And, it was kind of wild. And I'm like, bro, please don't shoot nobody, And that's practically what an American thinks when they see a cop, somebody finna get shot or something. So it's really a blessing, honestly, for these people.
America that have seen more guns in them than a fresh vegetable. It blew my fucking mind. I think about it all the time. I hate guns so much.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
In the US, I could not let my 11-year-old son go outside and play by himself.
No.
Someone would call the cops, or something would legitimately happen to him, and so there was no way. And when I moved to Germany, my husband, who's a German national, suggested that he go outside and play by himself because we would not have to worry.
Yeah.
If you're an American,
it's wild because I even saw a video. Was it Finland or something of the sort like that? It was Finland and Denmark, and you can I was so shocked. Like, if you guys want to check out that video, you can do that. It was about Finland and Denmark, happiness, something related to happiness, right? And I was mad surprised when I saw them literally have strollers outside of a food establishment with the babies in it. I was like, bro, in America, that baby gone. They're gonna steal that kid, right? And it was really crazy, bro.
Living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I didn't realize this until I moved abroad, but Americans have a very strange concept of freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you're growing up, you're always told that America is such an amazing place, and, it's the land of the free, home of the brave, but...
liberty.
Like, I keep hearing these criticisms from people like, oh, yeah, but America has the most freedom. Wow, yeah, freedom. I mean, there may be a few exceptions or nuances, but in the UK, you're still free. Like, that is the biggest lie that Americans are ever told, that there aren't other free places. Like, I don't understand. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like the concept is kind of destroying American democracy. How ironic. Like, they need to kind of understand that they need to work on things to make themselves better and more free for their citizens.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I'm not currently living abroad, but I did live in Australia for a few months. And one night while I was there, I got a little bit too crazy and I ended up on public transportation without a phone. And I had to find my way back to my apartment and I got lost. And while I got off the tram to get onto a different tram to take me home, a middle-aged gentleman came up to me and I immediately went into attack mode and I was like going to kill him. And he was like, no, I was just gonna.
Somebody called the cops. She said she was about to kill him. How you gonna kill somebody you don't even know? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, America did not do this to you. You have mental issues if you're gonna kill somebody and you don't even know what they're gonna do. No, don't. No. That sounds like a typical American cop. A coward who does not try to figure out if they're going to be attacked. No offense to her, but good Lord, you're going to kill somebody without knowing? Like, no matter, I can tell you of many stories. I was one time standing because I was waiting on the bus and there was this guy walking up to me. He was hella tall. He was mad tall. He was extremely huge. And I'm not talking about huge like muscle huge. I'm talking about diabetes type huge. You know when you consume a lot of sugar and you're extremely big? That's the type of huge he was, right? And I thought this dude was gonna hurt me, right? He pulled up, he was homeless and everything. He was asking me for money. I gave him some cash and he was on his way. I was like, okay, if this dude attacks me, what am I gonna do? I started planning out everything. Okay, if he attacks me, I'm just gonna have to hit him, run, and that's it. I wasn't thinking to kill somebody. Like, bro, killing somebody should never cross your mind. Like, that just, like, no. There are many ways to do this. Like, killing is way too in a lot of people's mind, bro. Like, what?
Tell you which tram to take to get back to Preston. And that was when I realized that in Australia, I didn't need to be afraid. Like, granted, take precautions, but I didn't need to be afraid of every man. But in America, I still am.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America...
So I don't live abroad anymore, but for half of 2018, I lived in Germany, and I have so many stories. The town that I lived in had like a main plaza area and there was a cafe in that plaza. So a couple of my other American friends and I decided to try it out one day and there was a construction site nearby. We heard a really loud bang and, you know, we kind of assumed that someone had fired a gun. And so we like ducked for cover and then we were looking around frantically trying to find like a place that we could run to or hide to get out of the situation. And then we realized that no one had shot a gun. No, it was a loud bang from the construction site. That's it. That's all it was. We'd been speaking in English, and we all have really obvious American accents, so all the Germans around us gave us these really sad looks, like, oh, these poor, poor Americans.
Thanks.
An American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I moved to Sweden. And when I got here, I wasn't feeling too well, so I went to the doctor, and the doctor recommended that I get an EKG, an electrocardiogram. Now, instead of worrying about my health, my first reaction was, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can get one of those, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. And this sweet little man, this sweet, amazing doctor goes, did you not pay the, like, $20 when you got here? I ended up getting a regular EKG, a 24-hour-long EKG, a blood test, and a freaking checkup for $20. Best part of this entire situation is that I am getting better, and I am getting the medical attention I need without going broke.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I pride myself on being an American. I didn't make it out before COVID, but I went to Norway. And I fell in love with Norway, read about it, researched it, and I was like, I've got to visit first. And I only went for a week, and it was for the Inferno Metal Festival. And for the first time in my life, I was actually called an American. They didn't assume where I was from. And there was this beautiful Norwegian elder, and she says, "God påske." And I said, "Beklager, jeg snakker litt norsk." And I said, basically, she said, "Happy Easter." And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak a lot of Norwegian." And she goes, "Oh, you're an American." And she didn't worry about her purse. She didn't look at me sideways. And I cried. I cried when I left, because for the first time, I was able to be just an American. I didn't even hardly drink, didn't do anything crazy.
Why? Why can't a woman be better? Why can't she be a more skillful driver than you?
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So during the first lockdown, we have an elderly neighbor, and we would go and check in on her every once in a while and like get her groceries if she needed. And progressively, she started not be able to breathe very well. And we knew it wasn't COVID because she had it before. But like at one point, it was like she couldn't even get to the door without like literally not being able to breathe and having to sit down. So my partner decided that we needed to call an ambulance for her and get her to the hospital pronto. And when he told me that he was going to call an ambulance, the first thing that I said was, "Are you sure? Can she afford an ambulance? Like we could just drive her." And it wasn't until my partner looked at me like, and that it clicked that, oh, that's not a worry here. And then I went upstairs and cried, because it really smacked me in the face that as Americans, we are conditioned to not worry about someone's health first, but to worry about whether or not they can financially afford to see a doctor and get help.
You're currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you?
So I moved to Germany in 2018 as a study abroad student, and I had a nice apartment that was on the ground floor with a nice patio, a big door that opened that led to the patio. And I was minding my own business in bed one day. The door was wide open. I had my noise-canceling headphones on, and I heard these really loud banging noises coming from outside that weren't very far. And I'm like, that's not a firework or a firecracker. It can't be. I freak out because as an American, I'm like, I'm about to get shot. Somebody's shooting up all of the student apartments right now. So I call all of my friends and I'm like, did you hear that? Am I crazy? Do we need to call the police and whatever? And they're like, I don't know, but yeah, maybe call your boyfriend who's German and like ask him. So I call my boyfriend and I'm like, watching, we just heard this stuff. Like, what's going on? And he's like, not to worry. Here in Germany, we don't have shooters. Those are probably just firecrackers. And I'm just like, I'm damaged. Like, we're all damaged and freaking out about frickin' firecrackers. We think we're gonna get shot up.
What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Hey, I live in Ireland and I've lived most of my adult life here. I moved to Ireland in 1995.
Ooh.
My teenage daughter was born here many years ago, and when she was born,
Wow.
I spent 2 nights in hospital before she was born. I had an emergency cesarean section, and then I spent a further 6 nights afterwards. The total cost to me was $0.
Oh, dang.
I kept asking them, like, are you sure no one wants my credit card? Like,
give me
want my details so you can
give
send me the bill?
Give me the credit card.
And they would just like laugh, like, oh, you're American. There's no bill. So 8 nights in hospital, emergency procedure.
That's a blessing.
0 bill.
That's a beautiful
American
thing.
currently living abroad. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, I have another one. When I was studying in Spain, we had our orientation the first week of classes, and our program director sat us all down and had to explain our health insurance to us and how it worked. And basically it worked that you paid like €1,000 for the semester and you got health insurance, like free health insurance for everything, covered everything. And she had to sit us down, and she had this big group of Americans in a room, and she was like, listen, if you are sick, go to the doctor. And we were all like, yes. And she was like, no, like, Americans don't go to the doctor. You won't go to the doctor when you're sick. So I have to tell you every year to do this, and still kids will just put off going to the doctor because you're used to just like pushing through illness. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's a cold, go to the doctor. And she had to actually like spell that out for us.
What's a really weird thing that your body does that you're not sure anybody else's body does?
Since I was a little Oh, we out of that. I could probably do some of those reactions, but nah, not right now. But it was a beautiful video as usual. You know, it's crazy the things that Americans go through. But it's a beautiful country. Not gonna lie to you, it's a beautiful country, lovely place to be. But the lifestyle and expectations and worries that you have as a typical American, you don't have that necessarily in obviously the European countries, which is really beautiful. And it is something that I will try my best to be ready for when I experience it. But either ways, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I'm out of here. Peace.